to your cause, then you're going to lose it. And I was not mistaken. I was right. ZINASU should stick to the concerns of the students in Zimbabwe. If they want to win anything else in this fight that they are fighting against the government, they must stick to their fight. Free education, whatever the concerns that surrounds the education system that they are facing now. The moment that they go to the concerns of their fathers, then they lose the plot. We went to education. You have started this platform. We went to education. Our parents, they went into their crows and took cows. Our parents had nothing. You know that. So I can't fight my parents' battles. My parents, they've got their battles to fight. If I've got a battle to fight, we fought it at the University of Zimbabwe. We fought our own battles. You have the Chamisas, you have the Mojongwes, you have the Tendai BTs, those are the people that grew up fighting. They knew, we knew a battle to fight. So my advice to these guys now is, if you want to make a success of fighting, you need to pick a fight. And when you pick a fight, it has to be specific. Everything else. That's my advice. I should say, let me give others a chance to speak on that one.
Well, I think it won't be fair for us to continue without ZINASU responding to that, what you have just said there. But maybe before they do, we could have a female there say something. Olivia Manje, do you want to say something before ZINASU responds?
Listen, for now, because they call the action, we can go to the broader perspective, but now I would want to stick to the point in question. If you get me.
Yes, your point has been heard. They're going to respond to that. What you said there, and allow me to just summarize there. You said that they should not call themselves intellectuals. They're calling themselves intellectuals. And you also said that they should not criticize a professor, and that is Professor Mtuli Ncube. You also said
Correct.
that they should pick their battles, so they should only fight their own battles. They should not broaden, and you said that they should not start to talk about and to fight for their parents' battles. Stick to only their own personal issues here. And
Correct.
I'm not sure if there's a fourth one. You also said that they are not like the Nelson Chamisa, Lenmo Jongo generation, who knew how to stick to their battle. So that's number 4 there. So I think it would be important for them just to respond to that.
They are, if I say they are not like, they are like the Lenmo and Jongwes, but they should learn from that generation. Look where that generation is now. So they should not just all of a sudden wake up and try to be a Chamisa. It doesn't work like that.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Let's have a female here, Olivia, before ZINASU responds. Olivia.
Hello.
Yes, Olivia.
Okay, so
Look, we can't hear you, Olivia. You're gonna need to speak up. Get closer to your microphone.
Okay, so looking at the situation, look at the money that the
You
parents.
still need to increase. You still need to get closer to your earpiece, your mic piece. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Far much better. Shoot now.
Okay, so let's see the money that the parents are getting paid. Like it's very less, and how the school fees is rising like each and every day is just a lot. Like it's a lot. It's a lot of money which has led to the Zimbabwe shutdown. And I think the shutdown actually makes sense because we're really trying so that you guys can hear us out, okay?
Right. Okay. Thank you. I'm hoping you had finished there. Right. Martin, are you back now? Uh,
Yho, nani kanti? Umama uhambele Aron eTown. Endaweni kaHani.
Yes, hello. Yeah, now
yes,
I'm back. I will.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to comment on commentator na Chikerema. Achitaura kuti zoni mayouth hatifanire kutaura to go against professor. Handimbofunga kuti zvaari kutaura izvo zvine musoro ini, because haungati kana tichiona maissues ari kuitika muno muzimbabwe, maproblems atiri kuona ari kuitwa muzimbabwe, kana achiitwa naprofessor zvine basa rei kana achikanganisa. We have to speak our minds as youth, because tisu the next generation, tisu ma-leaders achona. If we don't act now, who's going to act?
Thank you.
Who's going to act?
Right. Could we have? I'm thinking here of maybe shooting straight back to ZINASU to respond to this. But before we do, let's hear from another senior activist here in the struggle for democracy. Barbara Gwangwa. Sorry, Tanyanywa. Barbara Tanyanywa.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm Gwangwara. That's my maiden name. I'm proud of it. Thank you so much.
No, it's a great. Yeah, I apologize. I just couldn't pronounce it.
No, it's okay, Simba. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I would like to greet everyone who is on this platform. And I would like to congratulate ZINASU for this shutdown.
You congratulate them. They're being called
real. I am in solidarity with these students, and every sane Zimbabwean, whether in Zimbabwe or out of Zimbabwe, should be supporting these children. And I was once a student as well, Zimba at Bulawayo Poly, and we were given loans. Our fees were paid. When we were given loans, they would deduct the fees, and we would be given change, and we would buy whatever we wanted. Our parents never used to struggle to pay for us because we were getting loans, and then we pay the loans when you start working. So these children, these students are suffering because of this government that is clueless, the government that does not even care about the poor, the government that does not even care about its people, the government that does not even want to hand power even in their partisan PF. The youths are just silenced. They are suffering in silence. The youth are beating other youths for the older generation to keep on looting. And this is very unfortunate. The youth are being trained to beat and kill people instead of being empowered, instead of being given the positions of power. There's no succession plan in ZANU-PF. They want to be in power until they die. It's very unfortunate. So I say to my kids, to my children that are here, ZINASU, please continue doing what you are doing, because you are the leaders of today, not of tomorrow. The future is now, and the future is young and female. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. I think we're going to have ZINASU. We'll start with Boris, the legal secretary, and then we'll end with the spokesperson there. Folks, you are, and I'm going to repeat the words here by the ZANU-PF district chair. You are childish. You are children who should not call yourself professors. You shouldn't criticize Tuli Ngube, who is a professor. And also, you should pick your battles. Why are you fighting your parents' battles? And thirdly, you are nowhere near the Nelson Chamisa and the Lenmo Jongwe generation. This is what was said here by the ZANU-PF district chair to you. What do you say about this, Boris?
Okay, I'm here.
The legal secretary here.
Number one, I want to speak on the issue to do us being called people who must not make a contribution or challenge the governor, the one they refer to as the professor. It is our constitutional right to always express, and particularly when it's very factual and empirical, that the man mathematically is failing and financially is thrown and plunged this country in a disaster. Our parents, we came from homes, all of us. It's not like we are just surfacing from nowhere. We have homes and we are children of civil servants. We have both the brand of the miscalculations which are being implemented by the very professor. And number two, we are not here to champion other people's battles. This is our battle. Number one, I think we are very clear. We talked about the issues to do with the failed dialogue. Number one is Zimbabwe National Students Union. We tried our best to engage from chapter level. When you say chapter level, we're talking about campus level, up to the central government level, where we tried our best to engage with the minister, we engage with the tertiary institutions, but all this failed. And what we get is an attempt to actually eliminate our right to education by trying to privatize it and make it a privilege. And we will never fold our hands and remain in the gallery while the regime continues to heinously attack our right to education. So we are the vanguard of this right to education. And if you don't protect this right to education, you know that we are actually destroying the future generations, because If we don't fight, it means that there will be no more right to education. And you understand that this is the fundamental right. Is actually the mother of all rights. And you know, on the number two, it is, you know, it's actually, I mean, it has been mentioned before, but for the sake of emphasis and for the sake of whipping the one who are saying that we are we don't deserve to call ourselves the intelligentsia. We are actually the intelligentsia. And you know what? It's a fallacy for someone from ZANU-PF to come and lecture us on how we should conduct ourselves and how we should program ZINASU and how we should move. You know, in 2018, the very people in ZANU-PF and the leader of the party, you know, who is it's undesirable, but he's our chancellor, Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa, who is the chancellor of all universities, though it is undesirable. He promised us a free and quality education. But what we got today, it's another story. I know. No. So we are just saying, Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa, as the chancellor of all universities, just live by a promise. You know, this is the right time to deliver. So we are saying deliver. And now when we tell him to deliver his promises, we are being told that we don't have that right. We must reserve. Who must we reserve that right for? It's our right. It's our right always to make sure that the men deliver. And you understand that, like what I was saying, all of our parents, they come from they are civil servants and they are earning peanuts, and you cannot expect them to pay something more than 80,000 per month. It's unrealistic. We need to be realistic and be scientific and objective about these things. A family, usually the standard families in Zimbabwe have more than 3 kids, at least 3 kids. And they need 3 months, 4 months to raise 64,000. And I'm expected to pay that 64,000 in those 3 months. And I'm not alone. We are 3. I've got 2 siblings behind me who are equally dependent on that same parent. So you see, it's not feasible. And where someone is ought to stand, because if we don't stand, it means that there is no more education to talk about. And you know how it is. It is these people, they're talking about modernization. They're talking about the Vision 2030. There can't be Vision 2030 when we are uneducated. We've got a serious crisis which has become a social menace, a drug crisis. You cannot resolve a drug crisis when people don't understand issues, when people are not educated. There is a need to step in vehemently and ensure that we have access to education that is affordable. At least for now, we are saying affordable education. We want quality and affordable education, at least for now. Okay, so, and lastly, I would like to thank the forces that stood behind us, the progressive forces, just like Mr. Barbara. So, we want to thank the progressive forces that have stood with us, and we continue to call more progressive forces to come and stand with us. We call in religious groups, you know, churches, mosques, temples, all the shrines. They must come and stand with the students. We call everyone, the citizens, the labor movements, to come and stand with the students. You know, this is a critical issue that needs serious attention, and it needs a serious resolve and serious commitment. Thank you.
Now here we are. Let's move to the spokesperson. Spokesperson for ZINASU will maybe end with you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to acknowledge Ms. Barbara and Martin, who actually stood with the students. Well, to Mr. Chikerima say, I would like to answer to the questions which I may deem maybe need the answers. Number one, let me remind you, say that for this country to be in this mess we are into, it is because of people like you who kept quiet when the so-called professors were directing and putting the country in the trenches. So we as students of today, we are not going to allow that. We are going to make sure that the responsible authorities, we will be answerable, and will be make sure that they are able to provide the solutions, because they are in the public offices, right? Then number two, we are now saying that as the students, we know the battles we are into. We are in the national discourse, and when we are in the national discourse, it means that we answer to each and every policy the government puts on. So you cannot come here and tell us that ZINASU, please stick to this. No, 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 we are not going to allow that. Because look here, we are saying the finance is affecting the education sector. So how can we keep quiet about that? How can we keep quiet about that? The transport sector is affecting the students. How can you keep quiet about that? You see, so no one has the right to tell us to stick to maybe to a certain issue. They may feel that this kids. We are not kids. No, no, no. We are citizens. Before we are students, we are citizens of Zimbabwe. And whilst we are we are still the students of Zimbabwe, we remain the citizens. And after being students, we shall remain citizens of Zimbabwe. So we will answer to every national key question of Zimbabwe. We are not going to allow anyone to tell us what to respond to. And we will always continue to make sure that these responsible authorities, they answer to each and everything which they are responsible to. We are not going to allow the education sector to die in the hands of the regime. The regime wants the education sector to die so that they continue to loot, so that they will have more unfocused youth. Unfortunately, no, no, no. We are the vanguards. We are the vanguards of this nation. And another thing, you cannot tell us that we cannot stand by our parents. There's our parents, the ones who are paying for us, the ones who are striving hard to earn those peanuts, but they cannot make ends meet. They cannot cater for the fees which the government is taking, and the government has got no people at heart. If the government has got people at heart, it would consider all those things. Because as a student, when I'm at school, when I'm at campus, I will need food, I will need transport, I will need accommodation, and my parent is earning something which is 3 times less my fees. And also, I'm not the only child. There are also my siblings behind me. So someone telling me that we cannot fight the battles of our parents. No, 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 no. We say no to that mindset. Those are the mindset which has killed this country. We are not going to allow that. We are not going to allow the regime to control us. We are going to stand with the students. We are going to stand with Zimbabwe, because we are the leaders of today, as Barbara has said. We are going to make sure that everything which needs to be in the pipeline, we are going to fight for it. Everything for the students, everything for the nation, we are going to fight and stand for it. Because either way, something which you can say it's not in the education sector, directly or indirectly, it's affecting us. And the policies of Zimbabwe, they are affecting all those things in the education sector. One cannot think of an upper middle economy by 2030 when the education is dead. Right now, we as Zimbabwe have incorporated the education 5.0. How are we going to make sure that every child acquires such kind of education when you take exorbitant fees? How can you? As a matter of fact, there is mass deferment in the institutions. At MSU, many students didn't write their examination because of those exorbitant fees. So one come here and say we should not ask the professor, when the professor is doing something which is putting our life and our future at risk. So you expect us to keep quiet? No, we are not going to keep quiet. And to end this conversation, we want to promise all those who are here, the government and everyone, that as the students, we are going to stand for our future. We are not going to allow anyone to play around, because as we have realized that our future, our education hasn't been prioritized lately. So no, we are going to protect what's ours. We are going to protect this nation of ours, because we also want to see a better Zimbabwe, where the economy is just flowing, where the education is affordable, accessible, equitable for everyone, not just to make education a death sentence. No, it is not a privilege, but it is our right. It is our right. So we shall claim our right. The academic freedom and rights, we shall advocate for them and win them. So I think those are my submissions.
Oh, here we are. This is the ZINASU spokesperson. We hope to end with the chairperson for Crisis Coalition, Peter Gift Mutasa. But briefly here, we have a few people who have come in later on. Just one more person really, and this is we have Ryan Korba, and we also have the Harare Poly Social Economic Justice Ambassador, who is yes, that's right. Yeah, could we start with Honorable Ryan? Please give us your. Could you make it 1 minute, if possible, please?
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
First, I think this should be a very good initiative. I think when the students start speaking, it is a voice of the students, it's a voice for the people, and it's a clear indication that the students want a bit of improvement in the services that are being rendered by their government, and rightfully so. So I would obviously encourage, if any student is going to come out and say they're saying no to anything that is affecting them, to get a better education that will help us with the future, to have socio-economic development and sustainability. Be it so, it must be so, it must be respected. And I think any progressive citizen, whether in government or outside of government, anyone should be able to support the students and say, yes, your cause must be heard, your cause is accurate, it's right. And they should have a framework, a blueprint to say, we are saying we're shutting down because of 1, 2, 3, 4. And it should be made clear to each and every citizen of Zimbabwe. It should be made clear to everyone, corporate or non-corporate, to the international community, to say this is what the students are saying we are shutting down for. And as a result, I think even the head of state and government should be in a position to call the students and say, let's hear your grievances, let's talk about it, because I don't believe it's a political action when it's the students calling. I think it's a social issue. I think it's an educational issue, and I think it's a progression issue. So in those few words, I think this is a good call, as long as it's not diluted by any political activists. This should be accepted, this should be allowed, and this should progress. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have Joseph Nyamayaro, ZINASU Secretary General, SG. Yes, Joseph, you can.
In 1 minute, since most of my colleagues here we have talked.
Yes, yeah, we want to round down. Yeah, want to round down. We will come back here.
Okay. I was saying, it's part of the constitutional right. Section 75 of Zimbabwean Constitution, the 2013 book. It speaks of a student should be have accessible access to education, number 1. 2, affordable education. So we are also a country which was promised in 2018, which was promised free education at some point in time. So however, it's a union which is calling all progressive forces to say, for that promise which we promised by the chancellor and also by the ministry itself. So we are saying now we have come to say it's now the end of 5 years is now, we are now at the end of 5 years. So can you give us that free education that you promised? At least we are not now calling for free education. We are calling for affordable education, because we are sons and daughters of civil citizens, which are underpaid, by the way. So these are the demands of the students, to say we are shutting the institution so that you respect 1, 2, 3 grievances from the students. So thank you. These are my submissions.
Right. Thank you very much. Now we're going to be ending, with the Crisis Coalition chairperson, Gift Mutasa. Mutasa, please shoot. Give us your remarks.
Thank you, comrades, and thank you, Zimbabweans, for heeding the call by the young, courageous, and brave citizens from ZINASU. We are Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, a coalition of over 85 organizations that are in different sectors, including students' movements, labor, women's organizations, and youth. And our main focus, or our main democracy in this country, good governance and socio-economic justice. So we were very much interested and elated by the call by the young warriors and warriors at ZINASU when they decided to stand up and speak when everyone else was suffering and suffering silently. The crisis had deepened, especially with the transport crisis, but no one was speaking. So ZINASU, as one of our affiliates or one of our members, we had to jump in. But we jumped in because what they were speaking about resonates with our analysis. At Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, we believe we've got a crisis of governance, and it is manifesting in 3 spheres. Firstly, state-societal relationships. So the shrinking democratic space, all these stupid laws, colonial and apartheid era laws, PVO Amendment Bill, Labor Amendment Bill, Health Services Amendment Bill, Patriotic Bill, Cybersecurity Act. All those laws are meant to stifle and to shrink the democratic space. And we are also seeing heightened repression, the military, the police, CIO, and also persecution through the NPA and persecution through the judiciary itself. So the democratic space is shrinking. No wonder why keeping quiet when the crisis is deepening. So for that, we salute ZINASU for standing up in a difficult environment and say, let us protest. The crisis also manifesting in terms terms of economic relations and livelihoods. So you look at your inflation, you look at unions were not at the forefront in giving solidarity and taking leadership and also standing firmly behind ZINASU, because it is where we are facing transport crisis. Many workers are earning less than $20 in the farms there. In RTGS minimum wage, domestic workers 900 RTGS, not sufficient to buy 10 loaves of bread. So workers were supposed to be at the forefront, and I think they are going to take leadership in future. So we are seeing an economy that is working for a few, Taguires and others, the first family. They are all over in banking sector, in farming, in agriculture, in petroleum. They are taking everything, even NASA assets. So we are seeing crony capitalism proper, but they are into illicit trade. They are ganging up with the ruling elite to fleece every one of us through taxes, high taxation, as you have seen the president announcing the new tax measures, and also pillaging of our resources. So we need to fight around that area where our livelihoods are at stake and the economy has been captured by a few and working for a few. The few can get 10 million US dollars at Reserve Bank at official rate, and you and me have to go and get it at 1:450, 1:400 at the black market. So that's something that we need to fight it. We are also seeing the crisis manifesting in terms of failure to provide public services by the state. So public service provision is one of the manifestations of the crisis of governance. So everything is not working. Zimbabwe is one country, comrades, that can fit all the negative conceptions of a state. If you say, is Zimbabwe a failed state, you can see that it's failed because of the failure of our public health services, public education services, public transport services, water and sanitation, you name it. People are starving, people are sleeping hungry, people are having 1 meal a day. We've got food insecurity in this country. So the state is failing at every level. If you say Zimbabwe is it a military state? Yes, it fits squarely into a military state. The constitution has been suspended. They are threatening us, they are threatening ZINASU for calling this call. But we are exercising constitutional rights. So the constitution has been suspended. We now have a de facto martial law. It has not been announced. And some of the people who came to work today, they understood it, that if you don't go to work, maybe the military will come door to door and beat people who have not gone to work. So we are under a military dictatorship. Is it a kleptocracy? Yes, it is. Is it an autocratic state? Is it authoritarian? It fits, Zimbabwe fits squarely, sadly, into all the negative conceptualization of a state. So this is what we need to fight. I'm saying so because we need to understand the struggle of the students in the broader context. It is not the struggle of the students alone, as some would want it to be. It is the struggle of the citizens, because the students are speaking on behalf of the workers, their parents, their guardians, who are no longer able to pay for their fees. They are speaking on the behalf of their parents, who are spending 4 hours, 5 hours in bus queues, going to work and going back home. So the students have taken a national leadership. So for crisis in the Zimbabwe coalition, that is why we came. We came in, one, to amplify the voice of our member, but also two, to speak on behalf of all citizens on the issue that ZINASU has taken leadership. Our objectives were very clear, and we are glad that we have achieved them. Firstly, we spoke and amplified the voice so that we awaken citizens on the need to constantly push for their constitutional rights, Section 59 rights, the right to protest. We are in a deepening crisis. People are quiet. People are not protesting. So every avenue, every locus of power that is created anywhere must be supported. So we were supporting ZINASU to raise awareness to the citizens that even under the military dictatorship, we must enforce and uphold and engender constitutionalism. And we can only do that not at the benevolence of the state, because the state will not give us our rights and freedoms on a silver platter, but we can only do so by forcing the state to acknowledge our rights. We saw it during apartheid with the Soweto uprisings. Pupils at primary school coming out to assert their freedoms. And why shouldn't Zimbabweans do the same? So in that regard, this matter was talked about, and we were emphasizing that citizens are free to protest. Even where the government thinks otherwise, we must always emphasize that. And I think we need to salute ZINASU for that, because that message has gone home and it is a plus for us. The second aspect we intended was on the national agenda. The government was indifferent. Citizens organizations came up, Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, Kachedu, and many other organizations, including Zimeye itself, who were speaking about these issues. We managed to put the issues on the national agenda. I've been talking to many workers and people who have come to work, who have gone to work. They are telling us that the transport situation is vastly improved. We've seen buses back. You also, the president and his minister of finance and his Reserve Bank governor coming nocturnally to announce various measures. They could not be pushed. They could not just do that without a push. We saw how disoriented the president was. They were in panic because of ZINASU and the citizens. And this is what citizens need to crumble. They will panic. And we think what is started is just the starting point. It is the Chinhoyi 7, where the brave 7 comrades started the Chimurenga, but then built consciousness in many people that were reluctant and in many people that were ignorant. So we think in that regard, we have achieved it. Our matters are now solidly on the national agenda and also on the international and regional agenda. What we need to do going forward, we need to amplify. We don't need to retreat. We are facing threats. They are threatening us, but we don't need to retreat. We also need to learn from the lessons that we've learned. What is needed is to build a united front, a broad alliance of progressive.
My apologies. I got cut off there.
We are launching a very good campaign platform, the new Great Zimbabwe campaign. Students, CSOs, trade unions, every one of us are coming together and launch a very important platform that is going to push on these issues from a collective point of view. We are going to assert the constitution. We are going to demand democratization of Zimbabwe. We are going to demand social and economic justice and ensure that the socio-economic rights in the constitution are respected and are enjoyed fully by the citizens of Zimbabwe, including the right to education, including the right to a fair wage, including the military vehicles in the suburbs, police in the suburb. Or Pamuchinguri, hallucinating about regime change, hallucinating about foreigners. There is no foreigner in this country who is hungry. It is us, the citizens, who is complaining about low wages. It is us, the citizens, who are complaining about low wages. There's no foreigner in this country who is complaining about high cost of living. It is all of us. For citizens, and finally, for citizens of Zimbabwe, especially those who are at work, I'm sure you are still enjoying your low salaries. I'm sure you are going to enjoy your 3 hours at the bus stop. I'm sure you are still going to enjoy your seeing your child going to school without a meal. I'm sure you are also still going to enjoy failing to provide for your family. I'm saying enjoying, not mocking citizens. I'm saying enjoying in order to ignite that fighting spirit that I know you all have and we all possess. The students who are fighting for us, who have been fighting for us,
Sorry, sir. I think the line it keeps cutting you. I don't understand. I think the network is cut. I'm hoping that you're not being sabotaged there. I'm hoping that you're not being sabotaged there.
Network somehow, but I was concluding that we need to understand one thing, and we learn this from our history. We need to understand that when the government goes wrong, it is citizens, we are left on our own. We need to correct things on our own. We need to fight for ourselves. It happened during the colonial era. Some may say the government is a brute dictatorship, but Smith regime was also brute. Pik Botha regime was also brute, and citizens, students, residents, workers came together and fought bravely, courageously, and won and got democracies and got independence in our countries, and then we lost them. So now is the time. We don't need to stop. We have seen what the state can do. We've seen the brutality. We are looking at the students that use it, 6 students who were brutalized last night. We have seen what the regime can do when it is cornered. But it's not time to retreat. Let us stand up and speak up and fight for our rights. What should happen, in my view, we need to quickly come together and take back from what ZINASU has left. We need street protest. Let us go out and protest. There is no any other mechanism that we can fight a brute military dictatorship. We don't have arms. We also do not need to engage in any violence, because violence is their home ground. So we need non-violent action, and actions that are supported by our constitution. So street protests, Section 59, we are not the people who wrote that constitution. It was a political pact of the elites, ruling elites. It is their constitution that they wrote, and we endorsed it through a referendum. They cannot resile from it. They cannot say they don't want people to protest in streets. They put it in the constitution, and we must enforce it. So Aluta continua, and thank you, ZINASU. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pachedu. Thank you, everyone who participated. And thank you, the media, for spreading the message. I'm seeing beautiful people. I'm seeing courageous people here. Sam Keliso, Diamond, Priscilla. We're seeing you all, Rahim, Advocate Leah, the King, Sloman, Tinotenda. We're seeing Minister Masiwa. We were seeing you spreading this message. All beautiful and courageous citizens. We can do it. The 7th Chinoi started it. It built consciousness within the citizen, and we got our independence. Aluta continua. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, sir. I asked a question there. I was muted. I was asking you. You mentioned 6 students who were brutalized that last night. Do we know who brutalized these students?
It is not clear yet. We are talking to comrades at ZINASU, but after the students held the mobilization call rally in the evening, 6 were followed. There are a lot of plainclothes police at universities, and that is another victory that we have managed to do. I think the comrades from ZINASU has given a roundup. University of Zimbabwe is not operating. NAST is not operating. So the target, the real target has been hit, and we have sent the message. So they were followed. We suspect that they could be state agents, they could be ZINASU members, they could be the university security. So we will get clear positions after we have put them into SAFET and assisted them.
Like, so they were followed to their homes,
to their residence at the university, and they were attacked there. So they had to run away and get away from danger.
And how is their condition now?
We are still assessing, because we are trying to see that they are in SAFET, in a safe place, and also attended to by medical people. So we will be able to, together with ZINASU, after consultations, we'll be able to give the correct position later.
I see. And lastly, you mentioned something. When you were being cut, the network was cutting you. You responded to Opamuchinguri's recent attack against the civil society. Would you be able to repeat this? And I'm asking you because the network was cutting you.
No, we are saying the message has reached home, because when you see, it's not usual for a defense minister or a military personnel to comment on civilian matters. But when you see your issues being responded to by a minister of defense on some of these issues in the media, in the social media, and it's not just here, but it's everyone. We've seen Nick Mangwana everywhere. He has been running around. We have also seen the ZANU-PF social media platforms threatening us, threatening the students. So I was just pointing out that when you see these people talking like this, then you know that the message has gone home. And the best way is not to retreat. The best way is to move forward and plan next. And in our view at the Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, the next agenda is a serious mass mobilization. We need people to be in the streets expressing their disgruntlements.
Well, thank you very much, sir. And lastly, do we know how things, or do we have an indication of how things are going to pan out throughout the day today? What's your estimation of how things are going to end? Do you feel that
we are not sure, but from experience, all our calls for
Oh, you've been cut again. You have
disaster. We are not expecting anything different. We know the regime would not want people to gather. We have got a transport crisis. We think the regime will unleash military to chase people away. They don't know whether people who are gathered are planning to demonstrate. And it's possible people who have come to town, they want to protest. So we don't know how it will pan out, but from experience, many people may end up walking back home if the regime stick to its modus. Hi, Simba.
Yes,
Simba.
I apologize here. There was a mute there. Yes, I was saying, yeah, so this has been the cover overlay by the Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition chairperson Gift Mutasa, and who is also the former Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Union president. And
Hello. All right. So that was the cover. That was the conversation that is still going on Twitter, on Zimeye. My friend there, Simbaj Kanza, are hosting the show. Anyway, we can see the images and what is happening. What is your take on what is happening in town? These are some of the images that were posted by people on Twitter, and this one was posted by Nick Mangwana, the government spokesperson. I think this is Copacabana or somewhere there. You can see the return of your private buses, which is something that we're calling for. You can see this is the CBD, should be Samora Machel. And this is, I think, yeah, you can see, okay, it's not, I think it must be Julius Nyerere. And there you see a lot of people that are in town. But you can see the university there, NAST, it's closed. There is no one there. Anyways, these are some of the images of what we are seeing. And let me just play you a video of what is happening in town. This is a video that was released by the government spokesperson again. Video. Okay, so you can see there is presence of people, but what has come, like what has been amplified at the moment, it is the ZINASU, Zimbabwe National Student Union, protesting about the hiking of fees, saying that most of the students, especially that I had used it, I remember speaking to one of the students at UZ a few weeks ago, and they're saying that most of the students that I use it, they are students of civil servants, and what the civil servants are getting, it's not enough for them to keep the students at school. Let's talk of, of accommodation or food or anything. It is even exorbitant. So what do you think about what is happening? Are you in town? Tell us what you think on our number that we normally post here. Let me just put it here on this platform if you want to just say something before we close this broadcast. But this has been the show. You can hear the cries from the students saying that you need to consider us. And that was the last person to speak. There was Mr. Peter Mtasa, the former chairperson for Secretary General for Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions, and also airing his views on, he's now a spokesperson for Crisis Coalition for Zimbabwe. So he was highlighting the dictates of the Constitution, that the Constitution allows for people to go out in the streets and air out their grievances and do a petition. This is what I've been calling in the morning, that, if there is a stay away or shutdown, there is need to provide leadership where people come out in the streets and say, we are here, and not hide in their corners or speak on social media. They should be there to talk about these issues. Because if we are not going to be united, if we are not going to get leadership, then it's going to be difficult. The regime or the government will find ways to divide us, because at the end of the day, they are in it to stay in it. So they'll find ways of trying to evade the question or to evade accountability. So that's all that I have for you. If you want to be part of the show, please get in touch with me on that number. Anyway, have a good day, and please be safe wherever you are. If you are going to be participating in anything, please be safe. Thank you. I can see a Tulani's motto. Let's do it again. We see here. Keep fighting. People, my democracy not coming on a silver platter. That's the Rutendo Mandela. Thank you so much. I don't know if brother or sister. Thank you, Agrippa Agrippa. Okay. People would want to protest, but everyone also knows it will happen. There's no democracy in Zimbabwe. People can't voice their concerns. That's very true. Agrippa Nyakauru. Yes. Lutendo Mandela, once again, you're saying that I can hear you, Mr. Mtasa. Okay, so those are the few comments that we had on the platform. Anyway, hopefully we'll see you later tonight, as we're going to be doing another show as we round up the shutdown Zimbabwe. I hope you have a good day, excuse me, and you stay safe.